My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reid. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test.
Hello reformers and welcome back to Vampyr. Now when we left off we went down into the morgue and defeated a couple of very vicious skulls and retrieved some much needed medicine. And now we are going to be spoking? That's what I was just about to say. It's late. It's very late at the moment, and so that's probably the reason why I just misspoke. Anyway, the point is that we are now going to be speaking to Dr. Edgar.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Very well. Well, I don't particularly mind speaking to a Lady Ashbury, and this is a letter of Rakesh Chadana, who is the fellow that tends to the morgue. And it says, "Dear Dr. Swansea, I will be glad to manage the temporary morgue as soon as it's opened. As I have already told you, I was a doctor during the war, and I will be glad to serve my country again. I know it is not the same being a physician for the dead as it is for the living, but I believe it is important to welcome and take good care of our departed too. Rest assured, I will do my best to fully perform this new duty to the best of my ability. Concerning the question of my qualifications, I'm sorry I can't give you anything more valuable than my parole. I swear to you that my regiment made me a doctor during the war and that I saved many lives. If my word is not enough, you can contact the military administration to verify my experience and skills. They will confirm that even if I never followed any medical studies, the war taught me what a doctor really needs to know." Alright, so that is going to give us... Yes, that's going to give us an additional hint. Yes, it's been a while since we've obviously been speaking to Edgar, and he's always a valuable font of information, and if not him directly, then his office certainly is. We have a warning letter here. Dear Dr. Swansea, I must inform you of my deepest reservations concerning the Dr. Thoreau Strickland and Harvey Fiddick case. Mr. Fiddick has been hospitalized after a severe work injury. He may permanently lose the use of his arm if not treated adequately. Dr. Strickland claims that a surgical procedure may save the man's arm completely. I say it may also sever its functions for good if complications arise. Our young colleague is an audacious and daring surgeon who might prove a great professional in a few years. But for now, he lacks the skills to perform such a risky procedure. Need I remind you of the mistakes he made in the past? Since Dr. Strickland refuses to listen to me, I strongly advise you to forbid him to perform such a hazardous experiment. And that is from Dr. Waverly Ackroyd. We know about that, don't we? And we have an additional hint now about Strickland. I personally feel like Strickland has a good head on his shoulders. I think he might just be maybe a little bit too idealistic, but I think he is a good man in general. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe we're going to find out something else about him. And we just found a rare species of vampires collectible. Interesting. As a scholar and exegete, I don't exactly know how you say that word, of ancestral writings, I would never insist enough about the importance of taking legends and ancient folklores into account when searching for hints about hidden or lost secrets. A common mistake is to take what we know for an established truth, and use it to discard any contradictory material. For example, we must consider the possibility of undiscovered species of vampires, and the necessity to rethink what we see as the established truth about the various types of immortals, based on what we know and what we gathered through time. For how many centuries did we consider vampire was the vernacular term for what we had learned to call econ, until the day 4 explorers of the Brotherhood found proof in Siberia that Volkods were a lupine type of vampire. We considered these creatures to be linked to the mythological werewolf. Now we know it is not true. What about the rest? What about the Rakshasa from my homeland? What about the Chinese Yingshai? Or the Puchin? I have no idea. Of southern Chile. And without even leaving the beautiful Great Britain, what about the stories about bat-shaped women sometimes seen flying around St. James's Church in Louth? What about the creature only identified as a disaster in some obscure testimonies, which tried to destroy London in 1666 by spreading plague all around the city? What about the Nimrod, the mythical figure of the restless vampire hunter, sometimes described by ancestral British econs as a legendary huntsman who only feeds on his prey's blood and could go unnoticed amongst the mortals and immortals? I tell you, my brothers, we can never be too sure of what we might find, if only we could forget for a few minutes what we're supposed to already know. And that is from Unveiling the Night by Usher Talltree, Primate of St. Paul. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay, so there you go. There's a little bit of extra lore there, and I think we've actually discovered everything we can in his office. I don't think there's anything else. I was actually kind of lucky to see that collectible before I was about to leave in the first place anyway. And I hope you do enjoy me reading these collectibles and various lore bits out. If you don't like that, then by all means let me know, because otherwise then I'll just leave it on the screen a couple of seconds and then you can pause the video and you can read it yourself if you so desire. If of course you do like me reading it, then that's great, because I'm perfectly happy to read it, and I do appreciate the lore and the richness of the world being increased ever so slightly from these few things that we managed to find.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
These poor souls have so little left to live for. I do my best to ease their pain.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Pardon my boldness, Your Ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood. But the questions need wait.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
What are your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
You are aware that I too know the thirst for the scarlet nectar.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reid. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Ah, now that is a very cool twist indeed. I was actually not thinking that she was the person that we had previously met, but knowing that now, I think that's really cool. And this is obviously playing to the game's strengths, because the game so far has proven itself to be a very good conversation RPG, and that's a bit weird of me to say already, because technically we haven't really seen that much of it, but I've heard a few things about the game. Obviously, I mean, it's kind of hard not to, considering, but yeah, anyway. We are getting a new collectible, that's pretty nice, and we're about to question our patient.
No respect. What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reid, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reid, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
Well, she seems like a very nice person, don't you think?
The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
It seems like we're going to be speaking to the nurses now, aren't we? Well, blackmail is certainly a very sordid affair, and anyone that participates in it is, well, not exactly balanced, shall we say. Anyway, maybe it's just a case of desperation in this person's case. Who knows? Anyway, we are going to attempt to find one of the nurses here. There are 3 of them, of course, and it seems like...
Right.
Actually, where would they be? Let me actually just use this, and then we might be able to find them a little bit easier. There's Harriet Jones again. That's unknown. We haven't spoken to him just yet. Wow, Mortimer has a huge amount of... Oh, no, never mind. I actually thought he had 5,000 XP, but he only has 500. Ah, hello. You seem to be one of the nurses.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones. Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if the nurse finds some happiness where she can?
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
What can you tell me about...
Let me guess.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Well, it seems like she doesn't have anything else to say, and I suppose if we had not done the missions with Milton already, his little investigation to, find his wallet, then I suppose we wouldn't have already found out that he was in a relationship with one of the nurses. But we have already found that out, so it's not really that big of a shock, suffice it to say. Anyway, we apparently have another one outside the gates here. So let's see if I can find her. There's Lady Ashbury. What's her blood quality like, by the way? It is unknown. Absolutely unknown. Okay, so I think this is the other nurse.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Have you seen a strange man visiting any of the nurses here?
I've never heard of such a thing, Doctor.
Do you know if any of the hospital staff have criminal backgrounds?
The people who work here all come from very different backgrounds, Doctor. Just like the patients.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Well, it seems that we have only one option left, and I kind of anticipated that Dorothy would probably be the key to this particular investigation, and I suppose we'll have to leave that until the next episode with that extremely dramatic twirl that we did just there. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.